Okay, at first, can you please introduce yourself?
My name is Kimberly Ann Fyke. I'm from St. Ignace. I am a Sault Ste. Marie Tribe of Chippewa Indians member.
Can you tell me a little bit about where you grew up and the community you were part of before attending the school?
I lived in St. Ignace part-time and Mackinac Island part-time, so I never knew where home was. I'd go to school one year, come back, and home was in St. Ignace. I'd go to school, come back one year, I'd be on the island, so back and forth. When I was 15, I moved to Alaska, and I spent 40 years up there before coming back home.
Who are the important people in your life before you went to the school?
My mom and dad. I'm the youngest of 10, but when I was growing up, I was the only one in the house. So it was just the three of us until my mom died when I was 8 years old. My dad died when I was 13. And then one of my older sisters took me in and took me to Alaska.
Okay, and what did a regular day look like for you at home before boarding school?
Pork chops, mashed potatoes, and corn. The school fed us slop in my eyes. You know, coming from the good old dinner table to being served a bowl of slop is the way I call it.
Growing up, was your family spiritual or religious?
Raised Catholic. My mom was Catholic, of course, growing up. The adults didn't go to church, the kids did. My mom was a drinker, so Saturday night it was get drunk, and Sunday it was stay in bed. Kids go to school, go to church, so my dad was the same way.
And what boarding school did you go to, and for what years?
I went to Holy Childhood of Jesus in Harbor Springs from 1970 to 1974.
And do you remember how you first learned that you would be going to the school?
I'm one of the survivors, and probably the only survivor that you will talk to that wanted to be there. Reason being, my mother died, my dad had to work, I was home alone. My older sisters had their children in the school at the time, and I went down with her to visit. And it looked like the kids were having good times, so I begged to stay. I didn't come home that day. They kept me, so I actually made the worst decision of my life at 10 years old.
So you remember traveling to the school for the first time that day?
Well, I wasn't going to the school to go to school. I was going to visit, but I just didn't come back home. That was my first day of staying there and being a boarder.
And what did you know about the school on the way there?
I knew that it was always been there. Everybody always talked about Holy Childhood. Out of 10 of us kids, 2 died young, so 8 of us attended Holy Childhood over the years. And then my dad married another woman after I got to the school whose children were at the school, so I was introduced to them as being stepbrothers and sisters.
All right, so you went to the school for the first time and that day decided to stay. What was it like right away, initially? Were you excited?
I was excited to be with my nieces and nephews, but I had no idea how or what was about to happen, you know. I never in my lifetime would have thought I would have seen the evilness that I did see after being taught all the Catholic religion, you know.
So how did it feel to be away from home and family and your community?
It really sucked because, you know, St. Ignace is not that far. It's an hour drive. And you just never got company. The kids used to run to the window if a car pulled up and everybody's going, "Is it my mom? Is it my mom?"
So how long after you initially arrived would you say that the excitement wore off?
A week.
About a week? And what happened in that span of a week to change things? Was it just a slow change or just something initially that kind of flipped it?
It was the rules, the lineup, the get in line, the get dressed, mostly being lined up to go do whatever it was we were doing and the work that we had to do.
What do you remember about how the school looked, sounded, or smelled?
Scary. Old, as far as smell. Yeah, all I can say is scary.
How did the other children at the school treat you when you first got there?
Well, all the kids, they glad to meet you, glad to see you. I mean, your families are all torn apart, so you're always looking for that companionship, but the nuns kept you from having it. So if you got close to anybody, then they would make sure that you got separated some way, somehow, like they did with your siblings. You're in one great big room with 50 beds, and you got one sister on this wall, and you got another sister on the other wall. They wouldn't even let you sleep next to each other.
Check to make sure we're still going. Okay. All right. What was a typical day like for you at the school?
As far as school went, it was great. I mean, I learned, I did good grades, but you always had the fear of being snatched or smacked or, we all go through it as teenagers, rolling your eyes at your mom. They would smack you for that kind of stuff, or making the noise like you're disgusted. You had to watch your P's and Q's because you never knew when she'd reach out and not just hit you, but grab you by the ear and drag you across the room. Or I just seen a lot of things that she did to other children.
Were there subjects or skills you were taught that stand out in your memory?
Art.
Art? And what was art class like there?
I loved it. It was my way, my getaway. If I was doodling, everything else was gone, And I'm quite creative in different ways, but art's my safe place.
Was there a specific art teacher?
I can't remember all the teachers. The only one that I can remember is Sister Gonzalez.
You touched on it a little bit already, but can you tell us a little bit more about what the food was like there?
They would give us there would be 6 kids per table, and they would give us a serving dish about this big of whatever it was we were eating, and we split it between the 6 of us at the table, and we had, cartons of milk, and I have an eating disorder because of this place. If I don't like the looks of it, I won't eat it. And I think it's from coming from the pork chop, mashed potato dinner table, bread and butter, to what they served us. I don't think was healthy food. Even though we peeled the real potatoes, so we know we were being served that, but I don't eat chicken. I can't stand the smell of it.
What time was breakfast in the morning?
I don't even remember times. I just knew when the light came on, your feet were on the floor and you were moving. You didn't have a choice. Once the light came on, we all had to move.
What were the rules like and how were they enforced?
Well, everything is fine and dandy in a day's time unless somebody acted up, acted out, and then you would see what they got for what they did, and it was never, like our parents would do, swat you on the butt for being wrong or slap your hand for doing it, or the little things that teach you not to. They're tortures. They weren't spankings, they were tortures. Kids kneeling on rice and broomsticks and open soup cans and locked in closets and drug across the floor and arms twisted and I getting tongue twisted. When I was 12 years old, everybody's happy to be 12. Well, I was told to go down and find Sister Diane, who was one of took care of the young boys. She had a long distance phone call, and back then, it cost a lot of money to be on the phone. So I checked the basement and all 3 floors looking for her and never found her. And at the bottom of the stairs on the girls' side by the dining hall was a big brass bell that was Morse code kind of thing for the nuns, because they could hear it in the convent. So if you needed a nun, you'd ring their code and they'd come. Well, I rang it and she never came. So I went up and I told Sister I couldn't find her. So she grabbed a whisk broom for the dustpan and hit me 6 times with it. Well, then later at dinner, she found out it was my birthday, and then that evening when we were getting ready for bed, she said, "Kim, come here." She goes, "I heard today was your 12th birthday." And I said, "Yeah." She goes, "Well, I only hit you 6 times. I'm going to hit you 6 more." And when she took those second 6 swings, it was not a spanking. It was out of pure anger.
Were you ever able to practice your culture, language, or traditions during that time?
It was already gone by the time I was in our holy childhood. My mother never spoke it. Nobody in my family ever even acknowledged the fact that they were Indian.
Were there times you felt especially lonely or homesick?
Every night. You'd hear kids rocking their beds, biting their nails. I was a nail biter. Silently crying. You'd hear the sniffing all night, trying to keep your nose from running because you're crying. Silently. The bedwetters. I'm pretty sure the majority of them were afraid to even get out of bed to go to the bathroom, is why they ended up wetting the bed. But they would humiliate them by making them hang their sheets out on Main Street, out the window on Main Street.
What were some of the hardest parts of being at the school?
Is seeing the other kids get visitors or phone calls and you didn't.
Did you witness or experience punishment or mistreatment?
Well, like I was telling you about the 12th birthday, that's the only time that she ever hurt me or hit me. It was more the tortures that I seen her do to the other children, or the bear that they terrorized us with on Halloween.
What was the bear about?
Somebody had killed a black bear and donated it to the school for food. So Sister Diane, that took care of the young boys, cut it up, cleaned it up. Well, I don't know what she did to it, but she came into our dining room that evening with the bear's head on a silver platter with the cover over it. And when she took the cover off, we seen it was the bear and he was bleeding from his nose. She brought it into the dining room and was wiping the bloody nose all over students, telling them the devil was going to get them. And then that evening, when we were getting ready for bed, she brought the bear's front paw up to the girls' room and was pulling hairs out of it and sprinkling them on our beds and telling us the devil would get us.
And what was the name of the person that did this?
Sister Diane.
Sister Diane. How did you cope or comfort yourself during difficult moments?
Chewing my fingernails.
Were there friendships or bonds with other children that helped you get through?
Yes. They don't realize they were, but yes.
Were there any adults you could trust?
No. That was the sad part for us. Our inner children are still calling for that help. Let's just say Sister Naomi caused the pain to somebody. You couldn't tell Sister Diane. She was involved in it. Sister Roberta was the boys, that took care of the older boys. She was just as evil and involved in it. I learned how to tell lies in confession because we had to go every Saturday and confess our sins. Well, we were such good kids because we were so scared to be us that we didn't have any sins at 10 years old. So I started making up stories to get my prayers and to get out of church.
So, like, if you went in there and said you didn't have any sins, they wouldn't believe you?
No, because you're in there to tell your sins, so...
So you would face punishment, and if you told the truth, like, well, I don't think I sinned this week, and then you would get a punishment, perhaps?
They always gave you prayers to say.
Okay.
But, you can't say, like, I stole a piece of gum every week, stuff like that. And it's just like, well, I've been so good, I can't think of anything I did wrong to be able to confess, so I just started making it up. Because it was a thing you had to do. You couldn't just say, I don't have any sins this week, so I can't go. No, you were in the line and you went right after the next guy.
How did being at the school... Actually, wait, let's do a tech check. Tech check. Tech check. Tech check. It's going okay. How did being at the school change your relationship with your family or community?
Well, all our family went there at one point in their life. My older sisters, they deny any wrongdoing of the church. They didn't have nuns that were like the nuns that took care of my generation. I talked to them about it because their kids were there. And they hear me, but they're devoted Catholics. They can't comprehend the horrors that we're telling because they didn't see it themselves.
Did you have any language or culture or spiritual practices after the school?
No, not until I was 60 years old and found out the truth about what the school was all about. And that's why I'm so out in the forefront. I'm mad. I'm hurt. I'm upset that the federal government, the church, and the state did this to me. But they did a lot worse to the generations before me. And that's another reason I'm here. Or for the kids that are still buried under the streets in Harbor Springs.
Are there teachings from the school that you carried into your later life, whether positive or negative?
I would have to say swearing. Every blue moon, the words, God damn it, come out of my mouth. And then I say, sorry, Lord. I don't even know why I say sorry, Lord. You know what I'm saying? Us kids, we prayed and prayed and prayed that the torture would end for us or that somebody would help us. And we're still crying.
So, you sort of mentioned that your family had lost a little bit of the culture, or most of the culture when you were growing up. Did you see yourself as a Native person before you went into school, and did that change as you went to the school? Or how did that work? How did you feel about being a Native person?
I need a tissue, please.
Those over there.
Well, you can tell by my looks and my skin I'm Indian. You can't deny it, but I never learned it. Like I said, my mom didn't speak it. I don't know what her horrors in her generation was, because she was born in 1919. And with her dying when I was 8, I never had a chance to learn my Indian history.
So I guess a better question would be, how did you feel about being a Native person before the school, and how did your view change at the school?
I've always been proud to be Indian, even though, family didn't talk about it. We didn't know the language. We didn't learn cultures. We knew nothing other than the fact we had the blood. And I don't know, I just got the same itch. I'm not just here for myself. I'm here for every Indian child that ever had to go through a residential or boarding school, or the situation that the feds, the government, and the state did to us.
What challenges did you face after leaving the school?
Oh, drugs, alcohol, just like the rest of us, But I knew as a child, because my parents were both alcoholics, that it was not going to be me. I had my fun with it, just like we all do in our 20s, 30s, and I didn't let it get me, because I knew it could.
How have you worked toward healing from your experiences at the school?
I'm here talking to you, buddy, and everybody else that will listen.
Are there traditions, practices, or teachings that helped you in your healing journey?
I'm just learning. I didn't know not a darn thing about being Indian or traditions. I'm learning by being out in the public, going to the different Indian communities, speaking. I see the differences, but I see the same. Like, we all say miigwech, but we all spell it different. And that's kind of hard to learn that way when so many things are a little tweaked. But I'm learning.
What has had the most impact so far?
That camera. That camera. Like I said, I've been for 4 years now speaking out in the public, and I can't help not crying when I talk about these things, but they need to be heard.
What role has family, community, or faith played in your healing?
Well, I can say I believe in a higher power. I'm learning to call him a creator instead of God. I have tried to forget everything the Catholics taught me. I never went back to Catholic Church after I left that place. I've been there a couple times for my sister, but not comfortable there at all.
For those that can take action to help with the damages done, organizations such as churches, what kind of action would you like to see?
Well, it took all 3 entities to do this to us, then I think it should take all 3 entities to fix the problem.
And what 3 entities would those be?
The federal government, the state of Michigan, and the Catholic Church. And I'm only saying Catholics because I went to a Catholic one. I don't know about the other churches and their involvements in it, but that's why I'm against the Catholic part of it.
What do you want? Restarts every half hour. So. check. That's going. I think that's somewhere. Yes, ma'am. Check 1, 2. Okay. What do you want young people today to know about your experience?
Well, I know that all the survivors feel like by telling our story, we're traumatizing you, and that's not what we want. We just want the truth to be told. We've already experienced it. We're still dealing with it 50 years later, and wouldn't wish it on anybody.
What message would you like this exhibit to carry for future generations?
The truth. It's been swept under the rug for too many years, and they're still trying to keep it there. And it's only us survivors that can bring it out and tell the truth. Because even the nuns that took care of us are gone, you know. So it's up to us.
All right. Thank you for being here with me today.
You're welcome.
Let's stop there.